Good evening, Tao. Today I want to speak to you about the power of directness, discipline, and decisiveness summarized in the phrase no begging, no chasing, no texting, no games, just do it. Taking responsibility for your actions is a cornerstone of personal growth and success. It is about acknowledging that your choices, decisions, and behaviors shape your life more than external circumstances ever could. When you take full responsibility for your actions, you step into a position of power over your decisions, your responses, and ultimately your future. It's not about blaming yourself unnecessarily or taking on guilt that doesn't belong to you. It's about recognizing the areas where you have control and using that control to improve your situation. Too often, people fall into the trap of blaming others for their struggles or failures. It's tempting to point fingers at circumstances, people, or systems when things go wrong. While external factors can certainly have an impact, they are rarely the sole determinant of outcomes. By focusing on external blame, you give away your agency. You convince yourself that your life is at the mercy of forces beyond your control, which creates a cycle of helplessness and inaction. Taking responsibility breaks this cycle because it reminds you that regardless of the situation, you have a role to play in shaping what happens next. When you own your actions, you gain the ability to learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable, but the way you respond to them makes all the difference. When you refuse to acknowledge your role in a mistake, you deny yourself the opportunity to grow from it. However, when you take responsibility, you can evaluate what went wrong, identify what you could have done differently, and implement changes to prevent similar errors in the future. This process transforms setbacks into valuable learning experiences, which is essential for personal development and long-term success. Taking responsibility also fosters self-respect and confidence. When you own your decisions, you demonstrate integrity and maturity. You no longer feel the need to hide behind excuses or shift blame. And this creates a sense of pride in your ability to handle challenges. Over time, this self-respect builds a strong foundation for confidence. You begin to trust yourself more because you know you are capable of facing difficult situations head-on and finding solutions. Confidence, in turn, becomes a key driver of success as it empowers you to take on new challenges and pursue ambitious goals. This mindset shift can be particularly challenging in the face of failure or criticism. It's natural to feel defensive when you're confronted with evidence that something you did fell short. But defensiveness only perpetuates the problem. Instead of addressing the issue, it creates barriers between you and the solutions you need. By taking responsibility, you open yourself up to constructive feedback. This doesn't mean accepting every criticism without question. Rather, it means listening objectively and separating valuable insights from unfounded negativity. The willingness to accept responsibility for your actions and learn from feedback sets you apart as someone who is committed to growth rather than someone who remains stuck in denial or avoidance. Taking responsibility is also crucial in relationships, both personal and professional. When conflicts arise, it's easy to focus on what the other person did wrong, but healthy relationships require accountability on both sides. Owning your role in a disagreement, even if it's a small one, shows that you value the relationship enough to work on it. It also sets a positive example and encourages others to take responsibility for their actions as well. In professional settings, this habit of accountability builds trust and respect. Colleagues and leaders are more likely to rely on and support someone who consistently takes ownership of their work and acknowledges mistakes without excuses. One of the most challenging aspects of taking responsibility is confronting your own limitations. This requires humility and self-awareness. It's not about beating yourself up or dwelling on your shortcomings, but about recognizing areas where you need to improve. Everyone has blind spots, and part of taking responsibility is being willing to identify and address them. This might mean seeking help, acquiring new skills, or making difficult changes in your behavior. It's a process that demands effort and vulnerability, but it's also deeply rewarding because it leads to genuine growth and self-improvement. Taking responsibility also involves being proactive rather than reactive. Instead of waiting for problems to escalate, you anticipate potential challenges and address them early. Instead of hoping that opportunities will fall into your lap, you actively create them through effort and initiative. This proactive mindset transforms the way you approach life. You stop seeing yourself as a passive participant and start seeing yourself as the architect of your own destiny. This shift is empowering because it puts you in the driver's seat. Even when obstacles arise, you approach them with the confidence that comes from knowing you have the power to make choices and take action. Finally, taking responsibility requires consistency. It's not enough to own up to your actions when it's convenient or when the stakes are low. True responsibility means maintaining this mindset even in difficult situations, even when it would be easier to make excuses or shift blame. This consistency is what builds character and earns the respect of others. It shows that you are reliable, trustworthy, and committed to doing what's right, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. Avoiding a victim mentality is essential for personal empowerment and growth. When you adopt a victim mentality, you relinquish control over your life by attributing your struggles and setbacks solely to external factors. While it's true that life can be unfair, and that circumstances outside your control can create significant challenges, consistently seeing yourself as a victim strips you of the ability to take meaningful action. It creates a mindset where problems are seen as insurmountable and solutions feel out of reach. To move forward, it's important to recognize that while you may not be responsible for everything that happens to you, you are responsible for how you respond. A victim mentality thrives on the belief that life happens to you, rather than the understanding that you can shape your life through your actions and choices. When you see yourself as powerless, you become passive. You wait for others to fix your problems or for circumstances to improve on their own. This waiting game only deepens feelings of frustration and helplessness, creating a cycle of inaction. By shifting your perspective to focus on what you can do, even in difficult situations, you reclaim agency over your life. This shift doesn't mean ignoring the injustices or challenges you face. It means refusing to let them define your identity or dictate your future. Living with a victim mentality often involves an overemphasis on fairness. It's natural to want life to be fair, but the reality is that fairness is not guaranteed. When you expect life to always be fair and then experience disappointment, it's easy to fall into resentment. Resentment, however, is a trap. It keeps you fixated on what should have been instead of focusing on what you can do now. Letting go of the need for fairness allows you to concentrate your energy on finding solutions and building resilience, rather than dwelling on what went wrong. Blame is another hallmark of a victim mentality. When things go wrong, it's tempting to point fingers at others, your boss, your partner, society, or even fate. While there may be truth in identifying the external factors contributing to a problem, excessive blame prevents you from examining your own role in the situation. Self-reflection is a powerful tool for growth, but it requires the humility to acknowledge that you might have contributed to your challenges. By focusing solely on blame, you miss opportunities to learn and improve. Taking responsibility for your part, even if it's small, shifts your focus from what others did wrong to what you can do differently moving forward. Victim mentality often perpetuates itself through negative self-talk. When you see yourself as a victim, your internal dialogue tends to reinforce feelings of inadequacy and powerlessness. You may tell yourself things like, "Nothing ever works out for me," or "There's no point in trying because I'll just fail." These thoughts become self-fulfilling prophecies. When you believe you are powerless, you act in ways that confirm that belief, avoiding risks, giving up easily, or not pursuing opportunities. Replacing negative self-talk with affirmations of your capabilities and potential can help you break free from this destructive cycle. Instead of focusing on what you can't do, remind yourself of what you can control and take small steps toward positive change. Surrounding yourself with people who reinforce a victim mentality can make it harder to escape. Friends or family members who constantly commiserate about how unfair life is may feel supportive in the moment, but they also contribute to a mindset that keeps you stuck. While it's important to have people who empathize with your struggles, it's equally important to seek out those who challenge you to take action and encourage you to grow. Being around individuals who take ownership of their lives can inspire you to do the same. Their example serves as a reminder that adversity can be overcome with effort, determination, and the right mindset. One of the most insidious effects of a victim mentality is that it diminishes your resilience. When you see yourself as a victim, every challenge feels like further proof that the world is against you. Instead of viewing difficulties as opportunities to grow stronger, you see them as evidence of your powerlessness. This mindset erodes your ability to cope with adversity over time, making even small setbacks feel overwhelming. Building resilience requires a deliberate effort to reframe challenges as opportunities for growth and to approach problems with a solutions-oriented mindset. It involves recognizing that while you may not be able to control every aspect of a situation, you always have the power to control your response. Avoiding a victim mentality also requires a willingness to let go of the past. It's easy to become trapped in a cycle of reliving past hurts and injustices, using them as reasons why you can't move forward. While processing and acknowledging past pain is important, staying stuck in it prevents you from focusing on the present and the future. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or dismissing what happened, it means refusing to let it define you. It means choosing to focus on what you can build now rather than what was taken from you before. Making this shift is not about denying the challenges you face or pretending that everything is within your control. It's about finding the balance between acknowledging external obstacles and taking responsibility for your actions. It's about recognizing that while you may not always choose your circumstances, you always choose how you respond to them. Small, consistent steps toward empowerment and action add up over time, gradually replacing feelings of helplessness with a sense of agency and purpose. Self-discipline over impulse is a principle that governs the ability to focus on long-term goals and values rather than being swayed by fleeting desires or emotions. It is the conscious decision to prioritize what is meaningful and beneficial over what is easy or immediately gratifying. While impulses are natural and often driven by emotional or biological urges, self-discipline is the mechanism that allows individuals to act in alignment with their higher objectives and aspirations. It involves delaying gratification, maintaining consistency, and exercising control over thoughts, behaviors, and actions. Impulses are often tempting because they offer immediate relief or pleasure. Whether it's indulging in unhealthy food, procrastinating on important tasks, or giving in to emotional reactions, impulses appeal to the part of the brain that seeks quick satisfaction. However, while they may feel rewarding in the short term, impulsive actions often lead to regret or negative consequences in the long run. Self-discipline acts as a counterbalance to this by encouraging thoughtful decision-making. It requires pausing, evaluating the potential outcomes of an action, and choosing the path that aligns with long-term goals, even if it is more difficult or less enjoyable in the moment. The practice of self-discipline builds mental resilience. Each time you resist an impulse and choose a disciplined action, you strengthen your ability to make better choices in the future. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Initially, resisting impulses may feel uncomfortable or even frustrating, but over time it becomes easier as self-discipline becomes a habit. This resilience not only helps in overcoming distractions and temptations, but also equips you to handle adversity and challenges with greater composure and determination. Self-discipline is closely tied to the ability to plan and prioritize. Impulsive actions are often reactive, driven by immediate circumstances or emotional states, whereas disciplined actions are intentional and guided by clear priorities. Developing self-discipline involves setting specific goals and creating actionable plans to achieve them. It requires breaking larger objectives into manageable steps and committing to consistent effort over time. By doing so, you create a roadmap that keeps you focused and minimizes the likelihood of being derailed by distractions or momentary urges. This structured approach fosters a sense of direction and purpose, making it easier to resist impulses that don't align with your priorities. One of the challenges of self-discipline is that it often requires discomfort or sacrifice in the short term. Whether it's waking up early to exercise, saying no to unhealthy habits, or staying focused on work instead of succumbing to distractions, disciplined actions frequently demand effort and self-restraint. This discomfort is a necessary part of growth, as it pushes you beyond your comfort zone and helps you develop new skills, habits, and perspectives. Overcoming the pull of comfort and convenience is a hallmark of self-discipline, as it demonstrates a commitment to higher goals and values. Emotional regulation plays a significant role in self-discipline. Impulses are often fueled by emotions such as frustration, boredom, or excitement, which can cloud judgment and lead to rash decisions. Self-discipline involves recognizing these emotional triggers and responding to them in a thoughtful, constructive manner. Instead of acting on an emotional impulse, you learn to pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with your long-term objectives. This process requires self-awareness and mindfulness, as it involves identifying the underlying emotions driving your impulses and addressing them in a way that supports rather than undermines your goals. Another critical aspect of self-discipline is consistency. It's not enough to resist impulses. Occasionally, true self-discipline requires sustained effort over time. This consistency builds momentum and reinforces positive habits, making it easier to stay on track. For example, if you consistently choose to focus on your work rather than giving in to distractions, it becomes a habit that requires less conscious effort over time. Similarly, consistently practicing healthy habits, such as regular exercise or mindful eating, creates a lifestyle that supports your long-term well-being. Consistency also builds self-trust, as it shows you that you are capable of following through on your commitments and maintaining control over your actions. Self-discipline is not about denying yourself joy or pleasure. Rather, it's about choosing joy and pleasure that are sustainable and meaningful. Impulses often promise quick gratification but fail to deliver lasting satisfaction. By contrast, disciplined actions lead to deeper fulfillment because they are aligned with your values and goals. For example, the momentary pleasure of procrastination is fleeting and often replaced by stress or regret, whereas the satisfaction of completing a task and achieving a goal is enduring. Self-discipline allows you to focus on the rewards that truly matter, rather than being sidetracked by superficial or temporary pleasures. The practice of self-discipline also cultivates a sense of empowerment. When you consistently choose discipline over impulse, you demonstrate to yourself that you are in control of your actions and decisions. This sense of control fosters confidence and self-efficacy, as it shows you that you are capable of overcoming challenges and achieving your goals. It shifts your mindset from one of passivity, where you feel at the mercy of your impulses, to one of agency, where you recognize your ability to shape your behavior and outcomes. This empowerment extends to all areas of life, as it reinforces the belief that you have the capacity to overcome obstacles and create positive change. Embracing rejection as a tool for growth requires a shift in perspective, one that views rejection not as a failure or a personal flaw, but as a necessary and valuable part of life's journey. Rejection is an inevitable experience, whether in personal relationships, professional endeavors, or creative pursuits. While it can feel painful and discouraging, it also holds the potential to teach important lessons and drive personal development. The key lies in how rejection is interpreted and responded to. Instead of allowing it to create feelings of inadequacy or fear, embracing it means seeing it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. Rejection often carries an emotional weight that can feel overwhelming in the moment. It's natural to feel disappointment or hurt when something you desire doesn't come to fruition, but those emotions don't have to define the experience. Rather than internalizing rejection as a reflection of your worth, it's essential to view it as feedback. Every rejection contains information, whether about your approach, your timing, or even your compatibility with a particular opportunity. This feedback is invaluable because it provides insight into areas that might need adjustment or growth. Instead of dwelling on the negative feelings rejection might bring, focusing on the lessons it offers creates a sense of purpose and forward momentum. Rejection also challenges comfort zones, which is where real growth occurs. It's easy to stay within the boundaries of what feels safe and familiar, avoiding situations where the possibility of rejection exists. However, playing it safe often limits opportunities for achievement and self-discovery. Reaching for something new or ambitious inherently involves risk, including the risk of rejection. When you step outside your comfort zone and face rejection, you build resilience and courage. Each experience strengthens your ability to handle setbacks, making you more willing to take future risks that could lead to greater rewards. Repeated exposure to rejection diminishes its power over time, as you realize that it's not an end point but a stepping stone. Another way rejection fosters growth is by encouraging reflection. When faced with rejection, it's natural to ask why things didn't work out. This process of introspection can reveal valuable insights about your actions, choices, or even your goals. For example, rejection might prompt you to consider whether your approach was effective, whether you were fully prepared, or whether the opportunity truly aligned with your values and aspirations. This type of reflection helps you refine your strategies and make better decisions in the future. It also reinforces the idea that rejection is not a personal failure but a moment of redirection and invitation to try again with greater clarity and focus. Rejection also has a way of building character. How you respond to rejection says a lot about your mindset and resilience. Choosing to face rejection with grace and determination demonstrates maturity and self-assurance. It shows that you are willing to persevere in the face of setbacks and that you are committed to your goals regardless of temporary obstacles. This mindset not only helps you navigate rejection more effectively but also inspires respect and admiration from others. People who see you handling rejection constructively are more likely to view you as resilient, capable, and adaptable. These qualities are essential for building strong relationships and achieving long-term success. One of the most important aspects of embracing rejection is understanding that it's often not as personal as it feels. Rejection can stem from factors beyond your control, such as timing, circumstances, or the preferences of others. Recognizing this can help depersonalize the experience and reduce its emotional sting. It allows you to separate your sense of self-worth from the outcome, which is crucial for maintaining confidence and motivation. By seeing rejection as a reflection of external circumstances rather than a judgment of your abilities or value, you can approach future opportunities with a renewed sense of optimism and determination. Rejection also serves as a reminder that failure is not the opposite of success, but a part of the journey toward it. Every successful person has faced rejection at some point, often many times over. The difference lies in their willingness to keep going despite setbacks. Rejection teaches perseverance, a quality that is essential for achieving meaningful goals. Each time you encounter rejection and choose to try again, you strengthen your ability to push through challenges and overcome adversity. This persistence often leads to greater opportunities and achievements than you initially imagined, as it drives you to refine your skills, adapt your strategies, and expand your horizons. Embracing rejection also opens the door to unexpected possibilities. While rejection might feel like a door closing, it often creates space for new opportunities that are a better fit. Something that doesn't work out can redirect your path towards something more aligned with your strengths, passions, or aspirations. By remaining open to these possibilities, you can turn rejection into a source of inspiration and creativity. Instead of viewing it as a setback, you begin to see it as a chance to explore new directions and uncover opportunities you might not have considered otherwise. This mindset transforms rejection from a source of frustration into a catalyst for growth and discovery. Communicating clearly and honestly is an essential skill that underpins successful relationships, effective teamwork, and personal integrity. It involves expressing your thoughts, feelings, and intentions in a way that is straightforward, truthful, and easy for others to understand. Clarity and honesty in communication build trust, minimize misunderstandings, and ensure that interactions are productive and meaningful. Clear communication requires thoughtfulness in how you choose your words, ensuring they convey your message accurately and respectfully. It also involves being mindful of the context and the needs of your audience, adapting your tone and delivery to ensure your message resonates effectively. Honesty in communication is more than just refraining from lies. It means being authentic, transparent, and genuine in your interactions. This requires a willingness to share your true thoughts and feelings, even when it might be uncomfortable. While it's tempting to avoid difficult conversations or sugarcoat the truth to avoid conflict, This often leads to greater problems in the long run. Honest communication fosters understanding and allows for resolution of issues before they escalate. It demonstrates respect for others by valuing their right to know the truth and make informed decisions based on accurate information. Clarity in communication starts with understanding your own thoughts and intentions. Before expressing yourself, it's important to reflect on what you want to say and why. Taking the time to organize your thoughts ensures that your message is coherent and purposeful. Vagueness or ambiguity can lead to confusion, frustration, or misinterpretation, which undermines the effectiveness of your communication. Using precise language and providing specific details helps eliminate guesswork, making it easier for others to grasp your meaning. Clear communication is not about overwhelming someone with information, but about delivering the right amount of detail to convey your message effectively. Another critical aspect of clear communication is active listening. Communication is a two-way process, and being a good listener is just as important as expressing yourself clearly. Active listening involves paying full attention to the speaker, seeking to understand their perspective and responding thoughtfully. It requires setting aside distractions, maintaining eye contact, and asking questions to clarify points that may be unclear. When you listen actively, you show the speaker that you value their input, which fosters mutual respect and encourages open dialogue. This creates an environment where both parties feel heard and understood, paving the way for more meaningful and effective communication. Nonverbal communication also plays a significant role in clarity and honesty. Body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and other nonverbal cues can enhance or undermine the message you are trying to convey. Consistency between verbal and nonverbal communication is essential for building trust and ensuring your message is received as intended. For example, saying you're open to feedback while crossing your arms and avoiding eye contact sends mixed signals that may confuse or alienate the listener. Being aware of your nonverbal cues and ensuring they align with your words reinforces your sincerity and helps convey your message more effectively. Communicating honestly requires courage and a commitment to authenticity. It means being willing to address difficult topics or give constructive feedback, even when it might be uncomfortable. This doesn't mean being blunt or harsh. Honesty should always be tempered with kindness and empathy. The goal is not to hurt or criticize, but to share information in a way that fosters understanding and growth. Constructive honesty builds stronger relationships because it demonstrates a willingness to engage in open and meaningful conversations, even when the subject matter is challenging. It shows that you value the relationship enough to address issues directly rather than avoiding them or resorting to passive-aggressive behavior. One of the challenges of clear and honest communication is managing emotions. Strong emotions like anger, frustration, or anxiety can cloud your judgment and make it difficult to express yourself effectively. When emotions are high, it's easy to say things you don't mean or to communicate in a way that escalates the situation rather than resolving it. Taking a moment to pause and collect your thoughts before responding can help you communicate more clearly and constructively. This allows you to focus on the issue at hand rather than being derailed by emotional reactions. By staying calm and composed, you set the tone for a more productive and respectful exchange. Honest communication also involves being open to feedback and willing to admit mistakes. Nobody is perfect, and acknowledging your errors shows humility and integrity. It fosters a sense of mutual respect as it demonstrates that you are accountable for your actions and willing to learn from them. Being honest about your limitations or uncertainties also builds credibility, as it shows that you are not trying to present a false image or pretend to know everything. This authenticity encourages others to be honest as well, creating a culture of openness and trust. Clear and honest communication strengthens relationships by building a foundation of trust. When people know they can rely on you to express yourself truthfully and transparently, they feel more comfortable sharing their own thoughts and feelings. This mutual trust deepens connections and fosters collaboration as it ensures that everyone is on the same page and working towards shared goals. It also helps prevent misunderstandings or conflicts that can arise from miscommunication or assumptions. By consistently communicating with clarity and honesty, you create an environment where open dialogue is valued and issues can be addressed constructively rather than being ignored or left to fester. Setting your standards and sticking to them is a fundamental aspect of living a purposeful and authentic life. Standards represent the values, principles, and boundaries that define who you are and how you expect to be treated by yourself and others. They act as a compass that guides your decisions, behaviors, and behaviors, ensuring that your actions align with your goals and beliefs. When you establish clear standards, you create a framework for self-respect and integrity, allowing you to navigate life with confidence and clarity. Sticking to these standards requires consistency, discipline, and the courage to uphold your principles even in the face of challenges or temptations. The process of setting standards begins with self-awareness. To establish meaningful standards, you must first understand your values, priorities, and aspirations. This involves reflecting on what matters most to you, what kind of person you want to be, and what you are willing to accept or reject in your life. Without this clarity, it is easy to drift through life without direction, making decisions that are influenced by external pressures rather than your true self. Clear standards provide a sense of purpose and identity, helping you make choices that align with your long-term vision and goals. Setting standards also requires you to evaluate your boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set to protect your well-being, time, and energy. They define what is acceptable and unacceptable in your relationships, work, and personal life. Without boundaries, you risk overextending yourself, compromising your values, or tolerating behavior that undermines your self-respect. By establishing clear boundaries, you communicate your needs and expectations to others, ensuring that your relationships and interactions are based on mutual respect and understanding. Sticking to these boundaries is a way of honoring yourself and reinforcing your commitment to your standards. Sticking to your standards demands consistency and discipline. It's not enough to set standards, you must also hold yourself accountable to them in your daily actions and decisions. This requires making deliberate choices that align with your principles, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. For example, if one of your standards is maintaining honesty, you must resist the temptation to tell a white lie, even if it seems easier in the moment. Similarly, if you value self-care, you must prioritize your well-being, even if it means saying no to others or setting aside time for yourself. Consistency builds integrity and reinforces your commitment to your standards. Upholding your standards can be challenging, especially when faced with external pressures or criticism. Society, peers, or even loved ones may question or challenge your decisions, making it tempting to compromise your principles to gain approval or avoid conflict. However, compromising your standards to please others often leads to regret or resentment, as it requires you to betray your own values. Staying true to your standards requires courage and a willingness to stand firm in the face of opposition. It means trusting yourself and prioritizing your own well-being and integrity over the opinions or expectations of others. Sticking to your standards also involves being mindful of the people and situations you allow into your life. Surrounding yourself with individuals who respect your values and support your goals reinforces your commitment to your standards. Conversely, spending time with people who consistently disregard your boundaries or undermine your principles can make it harder to uphold your standards. It's important to evaluate your relationships and environments, ensuring that they align with the life you want to create. This may mean walking away from toxic relationships or situations that conflict with your values, even if it's difficult or uncomfortable. Another important aspect of maintaining your standards is being flexible enough to adapt when necessary. While your core values and principles should remain steadfast, some standards may need to evolve as you grow and gain new insights. For example, what you consider acceptable in your career or relationships may change as you gain experience or achieve new goals. Adapting your standards to reflect your growth ensures that they remain relevant and meaningful, allowing you to continue living in alignment with your true self. However, this adaptability should never compromise your fundamental values or lead to a lowering of your self-respect. Upholding your standards also requires self-discipline and the ability to resist short-term gratification in favor of long-term fulfillment. There will be moments when adhering to your standards feels inconvenient or difficult, especially when immediate rewards or pleasures are tempting you to deviate. For instance, if one of your standards is financial responsibility, you may need to forgo impulsive spending in order to save for a larger goal. Similarly, if you value personal growth, you may need to dedicate time to learning or self-improvement rather than indulging in distractions. The ability to delay gratification and remain focused on your standards builds character and ensures that your actions align with your aspirations. Setting and sticking to standards is not just about self-respect, but also about setting an example for others. When you consistently uphold your principles, you inspire those around you to do the same. Your actions demonstrate the importance of integrity and accountability, creating a ripple effect that can positively influence your relationships and community. People are more likely to respect you and trust your judgment when they see that you stand by your values and honor your commitments. This not only strengthens your relationships, but also reinforces your own confidence and sense of purpose.